Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing this evening? It's roasting here. And when I say roasting, I generally mean it's like it's like 17, 18 degrees here. Not my type of weather. Sure, if you want. But welcome to your Raw review, folks. And what's the best way to put it? I would go with the title. It's an okay show, but can it get better? Long story short, no. Not unless you make some major changes. When you look at last night, I think we need to give a little bit of fairness. Last night was probably the best show they've done in quite some time, but even by that, using the word best isn't exactly great praise. Like, it was just... It's almost like that's the best you're gonna get when you really need more. And honestly, that opening segment was genuinely, what was the point? What is the reason? Why would you have all those stupid references? But hey ho, it's okay. We gotta keep our mouths out of a company. We gotta keep all that out. I mean, there were so many lies in that entire segment alone that really, if you don't laugh, you'll cry, is probably the best way to put it. Unfortunately, we also have to give our worst performer of the week. Well, worst performer of Raw. If we do the week, we're not even through it yet. But worst performer of the week absolutely is very easy to find. Long story short, she's in the main event, so we will come to that. But if you have to be serious and you've got to be honest, last night was a decent show. I mean, I can't lie. I have to be honest. I mean, my beard, for how good it is shaved, comes with eloquence and truth. I think people are hyping up a lot of this segment, saying that it's great, when in actual fact it's the complete opposite. This segment had the elements to be special, and it had the elements to make it a great show, but it was ruined by word choice. It was ruined by delivery, and it was ruined by a bunch of delinquents called Londoners. So if you're from London, Hope this helps. Worst crowd. Generally the worst crowd of all time. People praising these European crowds. Guys, you need to get off your high horse. This crowd was awful. They don't understand. Now, I think in terms of energy, they're more vibrant than American crowds, which is not hard. Most American crowds are soulless, like their politics, but they at least know the difference between cheering and booing for your contemporary characters, which is your babyface and your heels. They don't turn it into a song fest. One moment. Can you shut up? You had to hear that. Like, you had to hear that. I'm going to get very angry shortly if this doesn't stop. I might have to really lose my temper in a minute. One moment, guys. Top tip, guys. Don't have fucking kids. Because then I don't need to be a brother. Swear fucking God. Anyway, where were we? Yes, so this review, like I said, it's not an awful show. Haven't said that, but where we're at is about, can it get better? And it's debatable. It depends on what you want from this product. What do you want essentially? Do you want it to be great? And if you want it to be great, you start holding it accountable instead of lying to yourself. Or you want it to remain how it is, they just keep making money, high charge tickets at your expense. It's up to you. Me personally, I want it to be great. Because when you look at the roster, there's actually some very good talent there. Simple enjoyment can be improved upon by certain things. Apologies, that took a little while. That took longer than I expected. I apologize for that. Question is, who's actually ignoring this though? Because people haven't stopped talking about it. I think the reality is people are just missing the simplest of things, and it's not being ignored. Caution to the wind is very important, and that's where we're at. But yeah, I think all in all, this was the best chance you had from the whole European tour to make it stand out. And for what it's worth, one person seems to have understood the assignment. One person. The question is, what will happen next Monday in Minneapolis if said person is on the show? They haven't been the main event angle for 3 months. Thanks very much. That's Romy, thank you very much. Cheers, Callum. How are you? Guys, check out Callum on Twitch. His content's actually top notch. Links in the chat if anyone wants to drop in. Feel free. Romy, welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. You might unfortunately hear my brother in the background. Honestly, when he starts, it's hard to stop him. It's a nightmare. So my sanity might need to be saved. If not, I'll end up just punching myself to sleep on air. Who knows? But reality favors the wicked, and I'm more wicked than many of you. Anytime, my man. Anytime. It's good seeing you. Yeah, I think last night in general, when you look at Rhea, it really was not done well for her. I actually think the weird thing is she deserves the Mania spot, but last night was the worst match she's ever had. Like, and I'm a big Rhea Ripley fan, and I'm saying this with confidence. Last night was her worst ever match. I've never seen Rhea Ripley botch that much, ever. Like that, I was very, very surprised, and it was poor to see. I'm not going to do what other social media accounts do, where they will clip the botches, all that shit. Because I see it all the time. People clip it, they'll post on social media, or like they'll put like a WWE botches account or AEW botches account, all that crap. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to highlight the fact that it was actually just very poor in general. I'm just hoping that her next one will just be as I think she was expected to do more than what she was hoping for, and it just didn't translate at all. That's how it is. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, she does. When you look at genuine talent, she's one of the best they have, male or female.
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry, sorry, I'm a couple more minutes late there. Just had to fucking put on my washing there now before the United game.
Oh yeah, I forgot we're playing.
Yeah. Bruno Fernandes, player of the month and all that crack.
Ah, fair. I'll be here. Yeah, she'll bounce back. It was. Yeah, I agree. Even the best have poor matches. On her level, it was shockingly bad. But reality kicks in. Her next one will be fine. At least that's what I'm hoping for. The next one will be fine, but yeah, that's you can't deny the reality. What we saw last night was bad from Rhea Ripley. But that's
Are you talking about the botch outside of the ring last night?
Just our whole match in general. It was just a botch fest.
Yeah, I seen the. Obviously, I watched the match last night, and to be fair, I was probably still reeling off the Cena Cody promo last night and the Gunter Russo stuff. I don't know if you covered that yet. But
no, too busy shouting at my brother.
Yeah, I've seen that at the start. But there was a couple of botches. I think there was one dangerous one outside the ring there where I think like I don't know, was Io trying to do like a sunset flip or something, but then she mistimed it, and then like Rhea landed awkwardly, but then also she nearly landed on fucking Io. It was fucking like it was really dangerous. But
I don't think they knew what they were doing. I think they were just.
I think almost they were trying to. I look, to be fair, like I actually like the storyline. I think the way they're building this, Io's going to get a big win at WrestleMania.
I think the way last night went, that's not happening now. Like,
what?
I think after last night, that's not happening now.
I still think Io's going to win. I think the way they had to do it last night, obviously Bianca had to screw.
Very sloppy.
Last night
Very sloppy. Ah, you're fine.
I think Bianca had to screw Rhea again for Rhea, I suppose, to get back into the match at WrestleMania. But like, if you look at the last 3 weeks, the way they've been booking it, they've told a good story in the way, because Bianca is like the narcissist in this story. Rhea's pissed off that Bianca's ego cost her, and then obviously Io has been treated like an afterthought when really she's the women's world champion. She's like the main. She should be the main attraction, whereas the other two, I suppose. Usually when it's men, I would use the phrase dick measuring in this instance, but obviously women, I can't use that phrase. But do you know what I mean? Their egos, like, you know, Rhea and Bianca's egos are overtaking Io in this story. And that's where I feel, you know, I think that'll actually cost the both of them in this match at WrestleMania. And I feel like Io is going to get that big win. Also, she needs it. I think Io needs it, because I think the way I see it is, obviously she lost to Bayley last year, and I look at Bianca, she's undefeated at WrestleMania, and Rhea had a massive win over Becky Lynch last year. So I look at it, and I look at the law of averages, and I look at the way storytelling is, and the way the last 3 weeks have kind of gone, bar last night. I think Io Sky's going to win, and I know we'll have our WrestleMania show in a couple of weeks' time, and William will actually be down in my house and everything. But I'm locking Io in to win now. I'm saying that 3 weeks out from WrestleMania. Now, things could change, but the way this story has been told, and with the way WrestleManias of past have happened, I really feel like Io Sky is going to retain her title at WrestleMania because of the ego of Bianca and Rhea. And also, I think that Jade Cargill still could play a part in costing Bianca the title as well. I still have that in the back of my mind. I hope Reece. I know Reece is gone, but I hope Reece heard all that because I probably had to repeat myself. But let's have a look at the comments while waiting for Reece to come back. Yes, the Odyssey said that Rhea Ripley bounced back. Even the best have very poor matches. Yeah, look, we've seen it from time to time where timing can be wrong, and especially as well. Like I think if you look, I was looking at your comments, Reece, and I seen one of your comments saying that the best can have an off night. I'll ask you this question, Reece. I don't know if you agree with me.
That's true. That's true.
I don't know if you agree with me, right? But do you think maybe the three women involved last night were trying maybe too hard just because of the fact that they're not main event for night one, that Punk, Roman, and Rollins got night one? And do you maybe think that maybe could have been cause for the botches, maybe?
It's certainly possible. I mean, that's a fair good factor to. It's a fairly good question to factor in. But even if they're not getting the main event, and you're still trying to theoretically, this is what people. This is why I disagree with people saying, "Oh, they don't want to watch TV wrestling matches," when they just want to watch it for the promos and all that shit. You still need to deliver your work, whether it be a pay-per-view or on TV. Even if you're not getting that spot, you still have to show why you are considered the best.
Yeah, and that's why I think they were maybe trying too hard. Because that's the way it felt like that to me at some stages of the match last night, that they're nearly trying to prove a point. And that's the way it felt like maybe some of the stuff they done maybe in the match in terms of like in-ring psychology, they were too fast. And I thought, like, in classic words of like Undertaker, they need to slow it down a bit. And that's what I felt like they had to do last night, is slow it down a bit.
I think they were maybe too complimentary on each other's style, and it doesn't help, and this is what doesn't go in their favor. When you look at all three in this match, I don't think this is a controversial take. I actually think it's quite accurate. I don't think either of those three are very good at leading matches. I don't think Rhea is good at leading matches. I think Rhea's much better bouncing off someone.
Like being reactive.
Yes. I think Io Sky's the exact same. And I think Bianca Belair is as well. I don't think all three of them could realistically lead a match. They could lead a feud. Like, they could instigate a feud. But I don't think realistically they can lead a match. And I think that's what doesn't help those three. Now, I can't stand Charlotte Flair. She's the biggest bint in pro wrestling. But she can lead a match. She isn't necessarily a good worker. But she at least can lead a match, but she doesn't do it.
Do you maybe think, I'm asking this question, right? And I suppose this is good for like nuance and debate, right? Do you think because
Ailey, that match was good, Ailey, but if you look at it, neither of them are leading that match. They're reacting to each other. No one's actually leading it.
Do you think, Reece, let's say, because it's looking like Bianca, she isn't fully healed yet, but she's going to be the heel in this match.
Long overdue.
She's going to heal after this. Like, I'm certain of it. Do you think, like,
I've been saying it for years anyway, so I won't be surprised. I'll just be saying thank you.
But I'm talking about her moveset, right? Do you think maybe if she goes as a heel, it'll slow down her style and we'll see maybe a different side of her? That maybe we'll see more in-ring psychology rather than, let's say, the high-flying spots and showing, like, raw strength?
I'm not sure how a heel Bianca will look, but it's long overdue. Like, we really do need a heel Bianca Belair, because when you look at it in general, it doesn't work. And I've said it for so many years.
I disagree that it doesn't work. I just think her babyface run has ran its course.
It ran its course many years ago for me. I think she's only a babyface because of Make-A-Wish. Quite frankly, she shouldn't be a babyface. Like, I've never once believed Bianca Belair's a babyface because of her gimmick. I've always said her gimmick is far too much like a heel. It just doesn't translate to me as a babyface. She's popular in the right state of mind because she's a good worker and a good person. That's what she is. But as a heel, be so much better. It will save her career.
Yeah, I think, look, to be fair, it can show a new side of her. And I think as well, her being a heel, I think she can show a lot more on the mic as well. I know we're talking about in-ring specifically now. But I think as a heel, on the mic...
It all matters. It all matters, yeah.
She can come across as an absolute bitch if she goes as a heel. And it could be fucking great.
I hope so.
It can be great. And also, I think from like a psychology standpoint, when she eventually feuds with Jade Cargill, when she's a heel, she'll be able to protect Jade Cargill's flaws, I think, in the ring.
Yeah.
And that's why I think if you look at the way their movesets are and stuff, and I think like if you just look at from like a point of Bianca all of a sudden used to be a dominant force, but she turns into like kind of a crafty heel, I think that could work. I actually really think that could work.
I don't think she needs to be a crafty heel.
But she's a veteran.
I get it.
She's experienced. You get me? Like, I think she can use like her in-ring experience. You know, she like I just feel like her as a heel like has all the ingredients to actually work and be like a compelling character. Do you know what I mean? Like remember for years we were saying Roman Reigns is a heel. Roman Reigns is a heel. Now I'm not comparing Bianca Belair to the fucking tribal chief, but what I will say,
true, Bianca's more likable, but yeah, carry on.
But she has all the ingredients to be like maybe like Roman Reigns as a heel, where she's such a big star as a woman superstar, but also she'd have that persona as a heel because she's already kind of like that as a face. I do think
I've said it for years on here that Bianca Belair's EST gimmick has never been a babyface gimmick. I still get called out for it, and when people finally realize I'm right, I'll just clap my hands at them and go, "Finally, you've caught up with me." But like that, it's not a babyface gimmick. It never has been. Like you cannot say. You cannot say you're the quickest, the strongest, the fastest, all that shit as a babyface. It just doesn't, like, not in the way that she not in the way she says it. It doesn't work.
Yeah, I get it. I get that part, right? Faces have done it before. Fucking hell, CM Punk, I'm the best in the world.
Yeah, but when you look at how he done it, yeah, no, I agree. But how he done it is completely different to how Bianca does it. You know what I'm saying? Like CM Punk doesn't do it in a cocky sense. Chris Jericho never said it because he's cocky. Bret Hart never said he was the best there is, the best there was, best there will be because he's cocky. They said it because they firmly believe in their actual ability and who they are. Whereas when Bianca says it, it's always cocky. And I'm like, that, if you're going to do it in a cocky manner, then be a heel.
I'd argue Becky Lynch done it as well as a face when she was the man. She tried to be, but that didn't work until later on. I think in the very early stages, that was almost like looking for an identity. Like that was like an identity shift, and she wasn't getting there. Because when you look at it, remember, like especially in 2019, early 2019. She really leaned into the man gimmick. I remember, like, even like that promo with Cena on SmackDown. I remember it. It was the first, one of the first SmackDowns of 2019, and she was like really cocky, but like it came across as like likable at the time. I think you can be cocky as a face, but it's just the way you present it, and it has to be authentic.
And that's why for Bianca, it isn't authentic. You make it as a heel. Then it will be authentic because she'll get the way she wants to deliver it. Now, if she simply came out and said, "I am the best," the way she does it, like, I'd be like, nah. If she just says, "I'm the best of this whole division," I'd be like, it's actually believable as a babyface concept. But it's just the way that she does it. I don't believe it as a babyface. I never have, because it just doesn't feel right for me, and it never has felt right. That's why I've consistently criticized that side of her character.
Yeah, you see,
and I'll consistently criticize it, and I will continue to criticize it until she turns heel.
Yeah, look, to be fair, I sort of agree with you, but I do think there's times where she hasn't come across as that, But I feel like more as time's gone on, she's become maybe a bit entitled, maybe. I think, and that's where it's coming across heelish. Do you understand what I'm saying? I think, like, that's where it's coming across.
It is now. Because they went, you know what, they're having to, because the European crowds are just, well, sick of her. So they're like, well, we may as well just do it.
Yeah, and also, as well, can I just address Twitter for a second? I just need to address this about Bianca Belair, right? I just need to address this. I don't know if you've addressed it already, but I'm going to address this so you don't have to address it. People are calling the European crowds racist for booing Bianca Belair. This happens in every feud where we boo. If there's 3 faces in a feud, we will boo a face. It happens. Bianca Belair showed heel tendencies over the last 3 weeks. Justifiably, she's getting booed. She cost Rhea Ripley, who's the number 1 babyface in the women's division. She's disrespecting Io Sky, who's probably the second. Well, I know Becky isn't active right now, so I'm discounting her for a minute, but she's been very ignorant to Io Sky in kayfabe, obviously. So the fans have every right to boo her behavior over the last 3 weeks.
Yep.
It's not racist. It's storytelling.
It's not even storytelling.
People need to cop on, man.
It's not even storytelling either. Like, in this concept, it's not even storytelling. It's just basically leading into, like, how she wants to be herself.
Yeah, it's wrestling 101, like.
It's not even storytelling. It's just character traits that she's leaning into, but the crowds are just really slow. But
I've seen Fernando's comment there as well, actually, on RVD. He also said he was the whole fucking show when he was a face, yeah.
He was, to be fair, when he first started saying he was the all effing show, he was a heel when he first started saying that.
And Ailey says they haven't picked a side with Naomi and Jade. They haven't booed Naomi and Jade. They picked a side. Yeah.
Yep, correct. See, the worst thing is,
100%.
I don't think they're ever gonna pick a side on these two. I don't think they're ever gonna pick a side because of how well that segment was for Naomi.
They booed
that segment.
Naomi got booed the fuck out of recently.
And then fucking Jade got booed on SmackDown as well. It's weird.
It's because it's with Liv Morgan though, and the international fans love Liv Morgan.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
I think they're getting somewhere.
WWE or the women's division?
It's just ironic.
Do you know what? I don't know. Can we discuss Cena, Cody? I feel like we need to have, like, not a debate, but a discussion about this, about last night's promo.
Sure, go on.
Everyone was expecting Cena to cook Cody and Cody not be able to respond. Cody fucking held his own on the mic last night. I knew Cody was like is good at promos, but like to go toe to toe with John fucking Cena, like not many can fucking hang with him on the mic, and Cody fucking hung. I know you criticize the references as well, Reece, but
yep, because they're redundant as well.
I get it. I get it, right? But
I need to mute myself for a few minutes. Carry on speaking, dude.
Yeah. I get it. You see, the thing is, right, the way I look at this is they had to make them references last night. And I'll explain why. I'm going to explain why they had to make the references. They also had to address, I suppose, Cody taking them, I suppose, quote unquote, the mantle from Cena, being top babyface and being the number one babyface in WWE. So I suppose they had to reference, I suppose, Cody leaving and not being able to hack it when Cena was at the top. Even though they're not directly related, but they had to address him going off and going to AEW. They also had to address the fact that, let's be honest, we all know this is true. And I'm a massive Cena fan, but we all know this is true. Cena was Vince's boy. They had to address that. They had to lean into the fact that they're saying Cody is being manufactured and all this. When John Cena went at a point, there was a point from like 2010 to maybe 2015 in his run, where there was times that he was manufactured. Not all the time. There was actually really good stuff in that time. But there was points in Cena's run where...
That is the worst fucking wrestling take I've ever seen in my life.
Whoa, you've said that a lot of times.
No, this is a fact, though. This is the worst take I've ever seen.
That's not Davey White Smith. Who's Davey Richards?
David Richards is the guy that used to be in the Wolves in TNA. He was just a small, fat midget.
Send me a picture on WhatsApp later after this and show me who he was. He was a talentless hack, mate. He got carried by Eddie Edwards. He was a talentless hack. Put it this way, he can't wrestle. Yeah. Show me a picture after this anyway. I bet you I've seen him before, but I can't recognize his name. But yeah, back to what I was saying. Like, the way I look at this with Cody Rhodes and John Cena, they had to lean into some of these nuances to tell a story. Now, to be fair, I think there was times where maybe in the promo, Joe, it felt a bit more scripted on Cena's side. I thought Cody... Let me zoom in here. Yeah, I've seen this guy before. Yeah, I've definitely seen this guy before. But I felt like maybe there's parts of Cena's promo that obviously it is scripted. But I thought Cody came across as a natural. And then also, like, right at the end, when it looked like Cena absolutely cooked him, it's right at the end when he said, all these things might have happened, but I've never had a crowd tell me I can't wrestle. And that fucking got it, Cena. The fact that got it, Cena, I was like, yeah, you fucking got this, Cody. And then obviously, we had a bit of physical interaction, which I actually wasn't expecting last night. I thought we'd have a mic drop moment. I thought maybe, like, my feeling going into the promo was that Cena was going to get that final mic drop moment and make Cody doubt himself, but it was actually quite the opposite. I think now he's not advertised, but there's going to be some Cody Cena Rock shenanigans once we get back to America. I think that's what we're going to see in the next, maybe not next week, but I think next 2 weeks after, leading into Mania, we're going to see some shenanigans. The fact that, because there's no way Cena cannot get his get back before Mania. And if Cena's not there, Rock is going to have some sort of involvement. The fact that Rock was mentioned last night, it's like, the Rock is still, I know he's not there at the moment, but he's still ever present in this storyline. I think there's still more to Cena aligning with Rock that meets the eye, I think. And we're going to see that over the next few weeks.
Yeah. That's fair.
What were your honest thoughts about the promo? I do want to hear him.
Very well. I think when you look at it in general, I think the one thing that they certainly tried to do with this promo was try and get some attention.
They checked that box, I think, tenfold.
I think the only thing for them is they made maybe 2 or 3 references more than they needed to. I think multiple references all in one takes away a little bit, because you can't really allure back to it later, or even at that point, because you take away from that circumstance and then you...
Are you thinking along the lines then with that they made so many references that maybe, let's say, from a content point of view, in 2 or 3 weeks' time when they're on the mic, that they won't have anything else to talk about? Is that what you're saying?
Essentially. And I think that actually...
Okay, I get where you're coming from there.
And that actually can hurt what you're trying to build. And people are going to come... And I know for a fact, because I can already count in the chat, in the next 30 seconds, someone's going to say, but they had to make all these references. I'm like, well, not all at once. It is good to make a certain amount of references. I've got no problem with that. I think you also have to limit what you can and cannot bring in all at once, because if you bring it all in at once, you basically shot all your ammo in the chamber. you've got nothing to come back with. So it kind of has one of them at a loss. And I think that's essentially that is a problem. It's a problem I actually physically have with promos across the board right now in general when it comes to wrestling at the moment is every single promo just seems to get all the references all at once.
I'd counter that. Punk and Drew went deep for months.
That's the thing. They did for that length of time, you know what I mean? Like, they continue to go through. But they would also add little things instead of shooting it straight away. And I think that's something that maybe you could draw back a little bit. I think there's so much more that Cena in particular can use.
I think equally on Cody's side he can as well, because there's a lot of skeletons in John Cena's closet.
I think that's exactly that's essentially what I'm looking for. That's what would turn it into favor. I think last night as well, the "you can't wrestle" reference, it's a strong one, but it's also kind of a one that hits back a little bit when you go, you have to main event with somebody that you say can't wrestle. It seems a little bit weird to bring that up now. It feels weird in that context, but
I think he said it because that used to get this. Because I'll give you the reason for it, and maybe you'll understand after this, right? I think the reason why Cody made that reference. Do you remember Cena was getting the entrance a lot from like 2010 to like 2014? Like a lot.
Yeah, he was still getting them, yeah.
He was getting them in that time, right? And this was my thinking why he was like why Cody brought that up. Do you remember, obviously, in that time frame, Cena was getting "you can't wrestle" more or less nearly every week in a lot of cities. Do you remember then that, like, at a point that really got to Cena, the fact from, let's say, the Royal Rumble 2014, from then onwards, we then started seeing a whole new kind of moveset from Cena. I remember including then, Royal Rumble 2015, we started seeing a lot more out of Cena in the ring. And especially during his US Open Challenge run. And we've seen a lot more moveset. And that leans into the fact that Cena, that "you can't wrestle" stuff, he's on record saying that he wanted, I suppose, prove the doubters wrong and show that he had, like, I suppose, a more nuanced moveset than the 5 moves or 7 moves of doom, whatever you want to call it.
5 moves of doom, yeah.
5 moves of doom, yeah. Well, it came like the 6 or 7 moves of doom with like the new. Remember back in like 2018 when he added that Japanese move and
yeah, that's because I'm not talking about MJF. That's because I'm not talking about MJF though. I'm not here to talk about AEW tonight. I will on Thursday. I'll bring up on Thursday.
But do you remember, like, that's when Cena expanded his moveset because the critics were getting to him, and he went, like, in that, especially in that US Open Challenge run, he expanded his moveset. I feel like while it wasn't a direct dig at, let's say, that time where Cena improved in the ring, I think it's a shot at the fact that eventually then critics did get to Cena, that he wasn't bulletproof.
I think it certainly is true. The only thing about it doesn't feel as strong coming from Cody as it does someone, say, an AJ Styles. Because he done the exact same thing. And it felt a little bit more when he said it to him before that SummerSlam match. And then he done it again for the Rumble.
He said it straight. I think they said it in 2 different contexts, though. AJ flat right said, like, AJ said, flat right said, "you can't wrestle." Whereas Cody said, Cody didn't directly say, Cody said, "at least I haven't had a whole fan base say you can't wrestle." You get me? I think the nuances of both of them are different. But
yeah, I don't disagree in that way. I don't disagree. I think the way it was used, it certainly seemed like I would have learned that a little bit differently. The only thing about I will give them praise in one little thing though. At least they did get a little bit physical. I think were they or were they not going to, the timing certainly stands that way. I think there's so many references these guys can make. I think the one reference that, for me, Cody would have won this segment outright if he had just said to Cena, you can bury anybody, but you cannot bury me.
Yeah.
And that's if he'd said that one sentence, I would have said the whole way through. I would have given that to him, but I can't. I'm being truthful. That's me being completely truthful. One line, one difference of a comment on a promo where you are trying to prove you can hang, or can you hang? One line can make a difference, and I think that is really telling. I was finding I did find one line that Cena said very unexpected. But now, obviously, we kind of expect him at some point for him to say that he buries talent. I didn't expect him to actually openly admit it. But that surprised me. Like, that surprised me.
I don't think it's an admittance. I think.
Oh yeah, it was an admittance. That was an admittance. But it was an admittance. He tried to spin it. He tried to spin it.
I think he leaned into like the internet saying that. They done that kind of line for like, I suppose, whether it's misconceptions or whether it's truth that Cena buries talent. I think they leaned into that to kind of say, I'm a heel now, so I am gonna bury you. So that type of way.
Like, they had to get to it at some point, so I'm not gonna like dismiss it. It was just the way it came about. It was the way he came about it, and I found the one thing that I found strange is when he said that he has talent, he was burying mediocrity. And I look at who he has buried over the years, and that is far from the truth. Like, it is. It was very far from the truth.
Let's break down a couple of people he did, quote unquote, bury. The Nexus. Heath Slater.
I don't think he was good, but he certainly had an attraction to the crowd.
Yeah, I think Justin Gabriel was okay.
Justin Gabriel was one of the only two members of the Nexus I actually thought was on the verge of great to excellent. The only two.
Bray Wyatt / Husky Harris wasn't the same guy he was.
He was terrible in the Nexus. I stand by that comment.
Skip Sheffield, who was Ryback, awful.
One of the worst wrestlers I've ever seen. I stand by that one.
Wade Barrett and probably Justin Gabriel are probably the ones to me. Maybe
they're the only. Yeah, they're the only two. Like, they're the only two that I'm like, nah. Because when you look at the time, they were. Because obviously, Danielson gets himself removed from the Nexus, but he was never going to get buried in the first place. But that's fortune. But when you look at it in general, he escapes that anyway. But the two of them in general, Gabriel and Barrett, are the two best at the faction in the long term that got buried. And then after that, it was few and far between getting them getting used. The way Barrett managed to turn itself around for him, and he became a very consistently good worker. He was shit. He was Ryback. Ryback was just.
He's the reason CM Punk had so many injuries in 2013.
Ryback is just Goldberg with less charisma, and equally shit working style.
Did you see the way he used to drop CM Punk on his back and neck back in the day?
Yeah.
That was worse than people think Brock Lesnar is stiff. Fuck me, Ryback is worse. A lot worse.
The difference is Brock Lesnar will be somebody that people remember for great wrestling matches and a great work, whereas Ryback will always be remembered for being a cunt.
Yeah.
But let's carry on those names. But
yeah,
no.
This April Fool's Day, Reece. Don't take the bait.
Drugs are bad, kids. Drugs are bad.
They are bad. Not that I know from experience, guys, but they are bad. But sorry, I had to make that joke. But
exactly.
No, not even to be fair. And I know
this is one. Yeah.
I know I give AEW. I know I give AEW shit. AEW wouldn't take Ryback. They wouldn't.
No,
They wouldn't.
no, they would. No, not a chance.
Comments. Zack Ryder. Would you
Zack-
say Cena buried him or Kane buried him though?
I would say Cena did. To be fair, I think Kane was just meant to do the damage. No, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. AEW would not take Ryback. AEW would rather, like, this is how far AEW wouldn't go to take Ryback. AEW would go to find some sort of machine that can revive the dead, and they would bring Bray Wyatt back from the dead and bring him to AEW.
I think if AEW were ever going to take him, they would have took him 2 years ago, not now.
Why would you take Ryback anyway? He would break every single one of their talents in half. He does nothing. He's so unsafe. He should never have been given a contract. But he should never have been given a tryout.
Think about the butterfly effect. It just hit me, right? I know we're going to talk about Gunter and the Usos. I think we definitely need to talk about that, right?
Ric Flair's a genuine star. Ryback is not.
Yeah, Ric Flair's Ric Flair. Like, fucking hell, like, don't compare. Fuck me.
Ric Flair's still a dickhead, but he's still one of the biggest stars of this business.
Oh yeah, like he's
like that's a delusional take.
I don't like shitting on people's opinions, but I kind of have to semi shit on that.
I do.
Yeah, I know you do. But one thing I would say, and this butterfly effect of Ryback here, right? Imagine if Punk never worked at Ryback. Imagine that never happened. Does Punk leave in 2014? I don't know. It's one of them what if stories that, like, you know, Adam Blampier could fucking book back in the day. What if this happened?
I wouldn't contribute. I wouldn't contribute really to Ryback because he still had another year after that. I think the more what if question is, what if the Yes movement never happened? Would CM Punk be in the position when he should have won the Rumble in 2014? I would say yes. I contribute the whole circumstance. Now, I'm not saying it's the fans' fault entirely. It's nothing to do with that. But Brian got over in a way that Punk tried and failed. And it's not because Punk's bad. He's not. It's just that the way he got over, it really energized a crowd that needed it because they were needing a new bit of life at that time. And it wasn't really going as planned. And I think when you look at this, I would say the question is, what if, for me, it's what if Daniel Bryan had not got over the way he did in 2013 into 2014 with the Yes movement, would CM Punk have stayed? I would say that's the what if.
I think Batista still wins. I think Vince still books Batista to win that Royal Rumble regardless.
He might have done. He might have done. But I think you still would have had Punk in the situation because it seemed more like you're going to get Punk in the main event.
Yeah, maybe.
To be fair,
maybe does Punk get into that as a triple threat? I don't know.
Controversial. I don't think the main event gets worse, regardless if it's Punk or Bryan. I don't think WrestleMania 30 is an overall bad show. I actually don't mind it. It has one result in general that really
I choose like, as much as I love WrestleMania, I just choose to subconsciously forget about that pay-per-view because of that one match.
Yes, I agree, but to be fair, we all know why Ric Flair was signed by AEW is because Sting was retiring. So, frankly, you bring in somebody that knows it. But Ryback as a world champion would be the equivalent of Shawn Michaels being champion 96 when he was the best wrestler. Ryback isn't the best wrestler, guys, before you even come at me. Shawn Michaels was against the best wrestler at the time. He was meant to be the guy who would take them on, and the ratings went down until he turned heel in 97. Shawn Michaels' first world title run didn't work the way he wanted. If you'd made Ryback champion in 2013, you would have had the same effect, but on a grander scale, where people would be like, TV off.
Well, No one was like SmackDown was really bad back then.
Oh,
So
SmackDown was shit.
Alberto Del Rio was a champion at that time. So like I think right
Yep.
back in that period, right?
Still would have been awful.
It would have been awful, but it's not unimaginable, is what I'd say. But
I'm kind of glad they didn't do it anyway, because God Almighty,
it would have been awful. But I suppose conscious because I want to chat about last night's Raw before United start in 24 minutes now.
Fuck the football. Fuck the football.
No. United, fucking Ruben Amram, he's going to bring it all home. But anyway, I have to get your thoughts. Gunter and Usos last night. I have to get your thoughts. Because I know you probably have an opposite opinion of me. Because I know you don't like the Usos. But go on.
I never have.
Give me your thoughts.
I never have, and I never will. Yeah, that's true. But that is true. It's just that for him, in circumstance, Shawn Michaels in '96 was not. He was not an attraction. No, what I said was a fact. Plain and simple. What I said was a fact. If you don't believe me, you can go back and look.
Wait, did you already talk about this segment?
No, I was talking about if you had Ryback as world champion would be as bad as that run where they had Michaels as champion when all the ratings went down. Because people love ratings.
Yeah. I just seen 80s comment there saying the new Moxley Gunter.
No, like, what is it with this Del Rio praise? The guy couldn't wrestle shit from shit. The guy was a fucking pleb. I will say this. I agree.
Jimmy Uso's introduction to his story has been a massive fucking payoff. On two ends. First of all,
the Jay botching is not believable.
What?
The Jey Uso botching is not believable for me. As a whole storyline, it's not believable.
Right, I get the botch part, but his introduction in terms of reminding Jey Uso who the fuck he is, in terms of being the right hand man, being main event Jey Uso, the Jey Uso who won the Intercontinental title, the Jey Uso who won tag team titles.
We need to rename him. We need to rename him. We need to rename him from main event to mid card because that's what he is.
But anyway, I know you don't like him, but we're going to continue talking about the segment and Jimmy Uso's introduction. It's worked in two ways. Because one, he's reminding Jey Uso of who the fuck he is. Secondly, his introduction now in terms of Gunter, battering him and physically fucking torturing him. Now that's going to light a fire up Jay's arse. Going into WrestleMania, it's going to give him not only motivation to win the title, his first world title. No, it's motivation to get fucking revenge for his brother. It's for me. I think it's simple storytelling. There's nothing too complex there now. I think the three things are his struggles against Gunter. He's 0-3. The second thing is he has doubts about himself. He's trying to, I suppose, rebuild himself. And 3, he needs to get revenge for his brother now. So they're the three things for Jey Uso going into WrestleMania, and he needs to tick off all three boxes. And I feel like the story itself, it started off slow, but I feel like it's starting to take off now. I think bringing Jimmy in lit a fire in this story because I suppose Jay's been vulnerable, but now he has to get out of that vulnerable mindset to, I suppose, go up against this unbeatable man that is Gunter. I think it's simple. Do you know the way we discussed Cody Cena has so many layers as a story in terms of what they can go in and go out of, right? I think this is just a pretty simple story. Gunter owns his ass, more or less. And Jay has to figure out a way to beat someone that has his number. I think that's the story. I think for me, it's not too complex. I think it's quite simple in terms of what kind of, I suppose, the storyline is going into Mania.
Essentially, what opinion about Mark Henry and Kurt Angle? Kurt Angle's the second greatest wrestler of all time. Mark Henry was an amazing athlete. So what on earth are you on about?
Is that about their feud in 2006?
I don't know what he's on about.
Because I was about to say, I've been on here loads of times. I don't think I've ever chat on. I definitely have never chat on Kurt Angle. That's for sure.
I mean, I think Mark Henry to be an absolute dork, but at one point he was genuinely an amazing heel. 2005 to 2007, Mark Henry was an amazing heel.
I fucking hated him in 2007 when he took out The Undertaker. I fucking hated him. That's because I was a kid. I fucking hated him.
I mean, I loved it. The actual way about it, I loved it because that shows he's re-establishing him as a heel. That's how.
You know what,
that's
though?
how
I'd argue 2011 Hall of Fame was better.
In what frame of mind can you say this so confidently? In fact, don't answer that. It's a rhetorical question. Sweet Jesus.
Let's move on with the Jay and Gunter stuff anyway. What do you think about what I said there and how I suppose it's kind of a simple story?
See the way they done it last night?
Yeah.
That's how this entire feud should have went from the beginning. It didn't need... I don't think this feud needed them to go as far as Jey Uso has to forget who he is and make all those botches. I think that was poorly done. I think that actually doesn't make it, for me, compelling enough.
Do you think
for me,
bringing Jimmy in, though, do you think bringing Jimmy in works?
Yes. I think Jimmy makes it a little bit different in the way that I don't mind if they lose confidence. Switch this light on. I don't mind if they lose confidence. That's not a problem. But if you want to make the whole story about he's making botches and he needs to recover himself so he can remember who he is, I don't essentially find that compelling enough and good enough to build around. Especially when they've done it to Gunther first to someone like Damian Priest, which is generally just boring. But what I actually like is how they went about it last night. And I think what they did last night gave it a little bit more jeopardy. And I think that's the point. Instead of it having to be, he's misstepping a spear, or he's misstepping a suicide dive and all that. It's just not compelling. Last night, however, for the first time in God knows how long, you make it violent and you make it aggressive. The only thing that ruins last night's segment is the worst commentator I've ever heard in Pat McAfee. But I like the enjoyment of Gunther. I like the reality, the multiple times that he's using the sleeper hold. I think, again, I don't care about the IWC, but I know a lot of people were obviously memeing the blood, which is just back and forth meme arguments. People love to cry about it, but
I think Gunther came across as a proper bastard last night. It
was long overdue. It was long overdue. These two, I don't particularly care about anymore. But Pat McAfee's not even better.
Oh!
He's worse than I'll tell you who he's better than. I will tell you who he's better than. He's better than me. Pat McAfee is better than me at being boring. I will give him that. Of course. I'm not surprised you were going to say that. because drinking blood you've criticised before, but when Gunther does it, it's beautiful.
Do you think? So obviously now with
Graves would be. Graves, I just can't stand, but he's not as bad as McAfee. McAfee is the worst I've ever heard.
Mike Adamley exists.
I don't count him for anything. I don't count him in general.
Do you think? I suppose now, like Jimmy's probably wrote off now till Mania. I thought Jimmy was going to be in the US title picture, but I think what'll probably happen now is he's going to be ruled out till Mania. I think his purpose in the match made to neutralize Ludwig Kaiser. I think that's probably what's going to happen. Potentially, that Ludwig will probably, like, especially when Jay's on top, Ludwig may interfere. I think that's when Jimmy will return. I think I was convinced Jimmy was going to be in the US title picture only until last night. I was like, yeah, he's coming back to attack Ludwig Kaiser during the match. That just hit me straight away. I was like, because there will be shenanigans, I think. Because I feel like it's going to be one of them times where Jay is on top, Ludwig interferes, we're all chanting Tiffy time at him, and then fucking we're all chanting Tiffy time at him, and then fucking Jimmy Uso will get, I suppose, neutralize him, and then, you know, I'm not saying similar to Kofi Mania, but like, well, it is kind of similar to Kofi Mania in a way. I'm not saying in terms of like stature, but the other way the New Day neutralize Eric Rowan.
It's not really a neutralizing circumstance. You just need to show him a pair of hair clippers and he runs away.
No, but you know what I mean. Like the New Day neutralize Eric Rowan. Jimmy also, you know, neutralizes Ludwig. Jay wins. You know, the Usos have their moment.
I'll be surprised if Ludwig Kaiser actually gets involved.
You'd be surprised.
I'm genuinely serious. I will be surprised if he does get involved.
Do you think it'd be straight up one-on-one?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Similar to like the Sami Zayn match last year.
Yeah. I think that's how it should be. Like, frankly, if you really want to prove yourself, it has to be one-on-one. I think if you have an infinite amount of interference, or you have an infinite amount of involvement in a different way, it kind of takes away from the culmination. And I don't think this match needs Jim Uso, but I actually like the way he's taken out. I like the way he's been taken out.
If he's not in the match, I do think they'll have their moment at the end, like when Jay wins.
I would be more than content with that. Like, I would be fine if in the circumstance, if, for example, if he does win, then I would just have them on the entrance ramp. Like, just an embrace where they're just holding the title in the air. I think that actually would be far more compelling than Jim Uso getting involved in the match. I don't think he needs to get involved.
Do you know the way Jay? And I'm not talking about the match. I'm talking about the start of the match. I've seen a TikTok on this. Instead of Jay going through the crowd for his entrance to WrestleMania, because that yeet would be fucking insane.
You clearly can't do it well. You can't do it well.
Imagine this scenario, Reece. Jay makes his entrance in the back, similar to what Sammy did last year, and he walked past all these different people.
Thanks, Rich.
Imagine Jay backstage, walks past Sammy, walks past Jimmy, walks past Rikishi.
Oh, God, if he's there, I'll shoot myself.
Right? Walks past Rikishi.
Oh,
and then finally, before he gets the gorilla, he has that nod with the tribal chief. Get that nod of approval before he goes out and faces Gunter. imagine just the vibes. Just imagine do like the he's got this moment. Imagine they do that. I think that'd be powerful.
As long as they keep Rikishi away, God Almighty, his takes are shit.
Yeah, his takes might be shit, but he's still the fucking father of fucking Jey Uso. Do you get me? Like it'd be
Fuck
a
him.
moment.
It would be, but fuck Rikishi.
It'd be just referencing the family, you know. It'd be referencing the family. Even I know they're probably keeping him from night 2, but even a nod with the final boss, I don't think that'll happen. But I think a nod with Roman,
yeah.
kind of. I think because obviously I think their relationship is still fractured. I don't think it's actually fully repaired. I think there's still that tension there between the two of them. But that nod from like Roman before Jay walks out, I just think it really gives that kind of moment like fucking hell, Jey Uso is going to go out and he's going to do this. It'd be a proper WrestleMania moment for me.
I'd say to an extent it is. I think they don't need to overdo it, but
this is WrestleMania.
Yeah, they overdo it in the wrong reasons. That's my only thing. Like, if you're gonna do it, make it count. Just
do you know the way you said? It just hit me there. This would be straight up. I think the more I think about it, and the fact you said that, this may be a straight up 1v1. So I think there's fucking shenanigans gonna happen in Cody Cena.
Wouldn't surprise me. Which question would that be? Are you actually asking me if I'm not good at separating art from artists? Are you kidding me? Are you genuinely kidding?
Is this on the Kurt Angle?
No, it's because it's because like he never stops bringing up the likes of Chris Benoit and Alberto Del Rio. Constantly brings them up, right? And I've said so many times, even to you, that Chris Benoit is one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen.
Yeah, we unanimously agree on that.
But I don't want to fucking keep talking about him every single fucking show.
No.
The guy's dead. The guy's dead. And also, the guy was evil.
Paul Heyman said it best.
I don't want to talk about him.
Paul Heyman said it. As a worker, one of the guy's top 2 best ever. These are Paul Heyman's words. As a human, Nancy and Daniel didn't have a choice. Chris Benoit had a choice.
Exactly. I don't want to keep talking about it. And I can separate the art from the artist because I've just did it. He's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. But he's also one of the biggest wankers that ever lived. Michael Elgin was a great wrestler. But he's also a disgusting prick.
Hulk Hogan, shit wrestler, big star, but he's a piece of shit.
Absolutely.
Like, the wrestling business wouldn't be what it is today without Hulk Hogan. I know we both don't like him, but we have to admit that. The wrestling business wouldn't be what it is without Hulk Hogan.
Look at Booker T. Booker T, great wrestler, won a lot of titles, set records, but he also continuously gets pictures with a convicted paedophile. I want nothing to do with Booker T. So, like, all these morons, I don't want to hear about it. Mentally ill. You can be mentally ill and still not kill someone.
I have mental illness. I don't kill anybody. You know that, Reece.
Mm-hmm.
I don't choose to kill anybody.
You can be mentally ill, but you still won't hurt someone. Chris Benoit, on the other hand, roid rage, addiction to drugs that were handed to him, prescribed when they were banned, and you were getting regularly drug tested.
There's also trust issues in that relationship as well between himself and Nancy.
Yeah, exactly. So, long story short, this is the last thing I'm ever going to say on Chris Benoit, and I do not ever want to bring him up again on my shows unless I'm going to review a Benoit match that was great. This is the last time I'm ever going to talk about him. I do not want to discuss someone on that level of evil, especially when his son is now in the wrestling business. His son goes to wrestling shows, and his son gets abuse by online fans because of what his dad did, which has nothing to do with him. Which has nothing to do with him, and that is constantly put on him. Yeah, this is true. Snuka killed his girlfriend, and who covered it up? Vince covered it up. The wrestling business the greatest wrestlers, I said it, I don't know how many times I've said to you, maybe Ailey can tell me, because I've lost count. The wrestling business, some of the best wrestlers ever are the biggest dickheads. But
The
they're
biggest,
still
arguably the
dickheads.
biggest star. Arguably the biggest star is debatable in wrestling. Hulk Hogan is a racist and a dickhead and a cheater.
Yeah. It's not
The
just that
reason-
he had.
The
People
reason why he
tried
had a
to
brain of an 85-year-old is because he was taking all them drugs, man.
People tried to help him. Have you forgotten, like, who was around him all the time? Like, I'm gonna give you fuck's sake.
Before, I suppose I need to bounce in about 3 minutes, so we'll fuck Chris Benoit. Quick thoughts.
Genuinely,
Finn Balor is finally back.
See
Finn
how
Balor
long that
finally
lasts.
got a win on television.
I mean, it's his first win in 6 months. I don't know what that tells you, but that's just embarrassing. But I don't know what they're actually going to do with him.
I think
They
this
have to
leads
get him out
Dom
of this
winning the.
faction.
I said this to you like 2 weeks ago. I think it wasn't on here, but it was in the group chat. I think this leads to Dom winning the IC title. He still, yeah, he got the pin.
But it's true. I do see Logan Paul. But obviously, I know Fernando's brought Logan Paul. I can see him going for that title at some point this year as well. God forbid. But in terms of Dominic Mysterio going after the IC title, wouldn't mind it.
I think Dom wins. I think Dom wins it at WrestleMania. I know it's going to be a fatal four-way of Team Penta, Braun Breaker, Finn Balor, and Dom Mysterio. I
think they might add more. I think they might add more, but
Ludwig Kaiser, maybe. I think maybe. Judging from his promo last night, you're right. Maybe him, but judging from the match, like judging from the matches and the way things have been going and the way Liv Morgan was talking last night, it just made me think Dom's gonna fucking sneak his way and win that title. And like the heat in that stadium, it'd just be amazing. But I love it. I actually like the funny thing is I actually love Dom Mysterio. I hated him at first. I actually love him. I think he's fucking great.
I'm still unsure on him. Just because it's always stop and start with him. And I think that doesn't help. And I think it's hard to buy into someone if they're constantly stop starting. And that's kind of what has constantly happened to Finn Balor on the main roster. It's why I can't take him. It's why I can't take him seriously. I think Fernando might be right. Like Penta's winning. To be honest, it wouldn't surprise me if Braun Breaker retires. I would retire too after Mania if I have to work with fucking Finn Balor. But
hey, no Balor slander in my company before I go.
To be fair, the way he's been for the past couple of years, I think a little bit of slander's all right. A little bit, but not too much.
Little bit.
But...
Hey, one quick one before we go. They have to do it in August in Dublin. They have to do him versus Sheamus, even for fuck all. Just 1v1, just for the atmosphere.
Yeah, that'd be all right. That'd be all right.
Because the Irish crowd is going to be insane anyway. But if you do the two of them, just give them 20, 25 minutes and let them just have a tear up. It'd be such a missed opportunity if they don't do that in Dublin. It'll be such a missed opportunity.
It would be. Yeah, I remember that was funny. Yeah, exactly.
But Reece, United are just about to kick off. It was actually a great discussion. And to be fair, we actually didn't disagree on too much, which I thought we were going to disagree on a lot. So, nice chatting.
People think I'm unfair. They just don't listen.
Hey, sometimes I think you're unfair too, but I think that's why I wanted to come on and actually have a nuanced discussion on.
I'm just always honest. Even if people don't like it.
Yeah, and hey, you need to let what you need to do now is save that video I sent yesterday and play it on your StreamYard stream tonight.
No, I'm not playing that fake video. I'm not playing that fake.
Just for the people in the comments.
I'm not playing that fake video. I'm not playing.
Just for the video people in the comments. I'm gonna let people. You either play it or I let them know what was said.
I'm not playing that fake video because you know for a fact it's fake. Because I already knew it was fake because Billy sent me it as well, and I'm like, how gullible are you? Like absolute, and he's not even here tonight. That's how afraid he is.
Right. I'm going to tell your comments. The match is about to start, but I can't not leave and not tell your comment section what happened last night. So, I spent the best 20 quid of my life last night. I spent the best 20 quid of my life. Long story short, I won money on the roulette last night, and I was like, right, I'm getting a cameo of Vince Russo for Reece. And so I won money in the roulette. I got a cameo for off Vince Russo for Reece. And Vince Russo went to town on Reece.
He tried, he failed.
He did not fail.
He failed.
The group chat were fucking hysterical last night over it. Come on.
He still failed.
He said Reece needs to take tutelage from Vince Russo. He said that Reece's criticism of John Cena are unfair, and what has Reece ever won? and then he said, you criticize John Cena, but then you praise AEW, which is an indie promotion on steroids. It was the best fucking thing ever. Well, do you know what I might do for your viewers? I still have an active YouTube channel, but all my videos are private. I may upload this to my YouTube channel tonight as my only singular video on YouTube, and I'm going to clickbait the fuck out of it. I'm going to say, Vince Russo roasts the weekly Steelchair.
He can try it, but it's all incorrect. And to be fair, what's Vince Russo done since? Well, here we go. What's fucking Vince Russo done since 1999? Barely anything.
Roasting Reece Russell. Check, in the words of the tribal chief.
He can do what he likes, but
on that note, Reece, enjoy the rest of the show. Comments, thank you very much for your comments. Do subscribe to the weekly Steelchair. I'll be back in 2-3 weeks. When's your Mania stream, Reece?
No idea yet. I haven't decided yet.
Oh yeah, if it's the Friday or Saturday, let me know, because William is probably going to be here, and we'll probably sit down here and do a dual stream, like we'll both here. So me and William will jump on at the same time.
Yeah, we'll see. I haven't decided what day yet, but I'll look into it because I need to sort all that anyway. So
yeah, and we get Ailey on, and we'll just have a big WWE love fest. You will love that. Reece, deep down, I know at your core, right? I know you're a heel right now. I know deep down your core. You might still be a WWE hater, but deep down, you're still my hero.
I've never once said in my life I hate WWE.
You might not say you hate WWE, but fuck me, you hate it.
I've always said I hate certain things that happens. I don't hate them.
I'm taking the piss out of you, Reece. I'm just taking the piss.
Oh, I know. I speak truthfully. People don't accept it. The day I eventually just go, this is how it is for me, is when I'll sit back and just go, chill.
The day you praise John Cena
will never happen.
The day you praise John Cena or Cody Rhodes, we will be there, guys. We will be there, in the words of Lee Gunner. But anyway, I'm gone. United are on the ball. Hopefully we win 3 points.
That's a first.
Subscribe to Reece and the weekly Steelchair, lads. And yeah, I'll be in the next show in the comments, guys. Until then, guys, see you later. Have a good one, Reece.
See you later, mate. Praise John Cena. What do I look like? An animal? Come on. Not unless you strip all your titles and then you make Hulk Hogan stand over Jeff Jarrett's prone body. Not a chance. It's good to see Keen though. Okay, moving on. So my biggest criticism of last night's Raw isn't even the botches or the promo that had more references that just lost itself in translation. The biggest critique I've got of last night's show is the tag match. I think the tag match is the biggest critique of the entire show.
Can put the mic back on now. There we go. You bring back Tyler Bate. And I like Tyler Bate. Tyler Bate's actually a decent technical wrestler. It was boring at times. You just have to accept it. You just choose not to. He couldn't book on his own when he broke out on his own. He couldn't do it. That's a reality. You bring back Tyler Bate, who I've actually always liked Tyler Bate. Good technical wrestler. He's always gave his all for a crowd. He's always tried to be inclusive on a show that he's on. I actually like that with Tyler Bate. You've got Pete Dunne, who actually had no clue what he was doing, which I found very strange. And I actually find it so strange as well that he didn't even look like he cared. It almost felt like it was just a throwaway. A throwaway where you don't even get a deserved result. Not gonna lie, I found this to be so strange. I think one they should have had New Catch Republic go over the Strange Day, as I call them now. I call them the Strange Day because well, they're not essentially new anymore, and they're not exactly working as a heel. It's not because they're bad as heels, but not getting anywhere. I think for Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne, one, you just bring them back as a tag team with no story. You just jump them together. There's nothing for them to build on, and I think that's a bit unfair for those two. I actually think that's unfair on their part. But I just don't know what they're going to do for it. But I like that at least we have a number one contender to the War Raiders. Thing is, I don't think of yourself or anyone in the chat. I see your comments. I see what you all guys think. I still don't have an opinion of you. Believe it or not, I don't. That's the only truth. I like seeing the different opinions you guys bring. It brings a little bit of energy. It shows that you value yourselves. But I don't essentially have opinions of it. I think comments can be a little bit controversial, but I don't think of in that way. Well, United are losing. That's unfortunate. And annoyed that we are, but at least I haven't missed it. So that's something. But the New Day wins with their Daybreak move. We get a stare down between Eric and Ivar. As champions, are they gonna? I don't think you can build them. I don't think you can build them as a long-term champion. I think they should be short spells. It's time to stop showing who's in the crowds. Celebrity-wise, none of us care who's in the crowd. We did discuss there, obviously, that we did obviously discuss the tag match between Penta and Breaker versus the Judgment Day's Balor and Mysterio. I'm starting to see where Kane's coming from in terms of is Dominic Mysterio going to win at Mania. When you look at it, it's certainly possible. All round basis, no matter who wins at WrestleMania, the only thing that actually matters is keep the title hot. Don't let it dip, because that's what's happened to the IC title. The IC title is freezing cold. I think that really is unfortunate. This is a moment in time where it should be at its hottest. It's not. Intercontinental title scene, I would say, is stronger. I'm kind of happy with that anyway. I've always loved the Intercontinental title. I've always wanted it to be right up there. I don't think you need an Intercontinental and US title, personally. I don't think you need both. That might sound a bit controversial for some people, but I don't think they need it anymore. I would honestly say sayonara. I would let it go. People might disagree with me on that, and if you do, that's okay. But I think it's time to let it go. Let the IC title just be the only one behind the two world titles. You can have the Intercontinental Champion do both shows, build credible feuds, have an extended mid card roster. It works for me. Because people are now jumping back and forth between Raw and SmackDown anyway, so a brand split doesn't really mean anything now. That's something that I actually value. That's something that I actually would praise. I would praise WWE if they actually did that. I think it would be a very smart but bold call. Sorry, my eyes a little bit sore. Sorry. No one cares what you are doing. Stop arguing amongst yourselves. Carlito. It's time for Carlito to have his contract torn up. This guy has offered nothing to WWE at all. He doesn't even wrestle anymore. He doesn't participate in anything that matters most. He is just there stealing a living. It's time to get rid. Send him off. He just needs to retire. He's done. He's not been. I haven't cared about Carlito since 2007. No, he doesn't even offer that. I think it's time to just get rid of him. I would tear up his contract and say goodbye. There's people that were released recently undeservingly. He deserves to get released. I would honestly sack him tomorrow. Or you give him to WrestleMania season where he's going to do nothing in general. After WrestleMania, let him go. Because he doesn't bring anything anymore. He isn't funny. He isn't charismatic anymore. He isn't entertaining. He's just a glorified mascot. And I actually think that hurts the product a lot. I think that's a significant hampering. I hope he is released, Catherine. I really hope he is released. He's in one of the top of my list. I find it funny the user arguing over who's being truthful or whatever, but the reality being is, after did make a valid point. You do potentially just bring up points from wrestling who are nothing. But then again, Catherine is also at times just being a little bit hateful towards you. Again, these are both as bad as each other. I find that absolutely funny. So make that what you will. We get a jobber entrance for AJ Styles. I find that was actually quite sad. AJ Styles doesn't even get a decent entrance. He has to come out during an ad break, which I find quite insincere. This segment, we know was building to WrestleMania, and the only good thing about this entire segment was the finishing move that Logan Paul does. What the hell is that thing fucking called? The Paulizer or Impalizer or whatever it's called. I like the aesthetic of that move. It's actually a very good aesthetic, but I think the low blow up to that works. I don't think Logan Paul's promo is particularly great either. It's one of his weakest promos. I didn't think the extension of the word. I don't think the extension of the word douchebag continuously helps it, but it does actually show the crowd's content towards him when they don't like him. But I think it just hampered on quite a while. The manner of it really does hinder it, and it's unfortunate. I don't want this match at Mania. I really don't. I wanted AJ to be part of the IC title picture because you need something more interesting involved with this as well. Instead, he's in this. He said he's making this just a match. Why not just put both men in IC title? It makes it a lot more compelling for Logan Paul as well. I don't know. I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, whatever AEW pulls on their ratings, good for them. Or if it's a horrible rating that week, bad for them. If WWE has a great week where they have great ratings, good for them. If they have a bad one, then it sucks for them as well. Like, honestly, see when it comes to ratings, I don't work in television. I don't work for a television company. Therefore, when it comes to ratings, I don't care. What matters to me is what I'm watching. If I don't like what I see, then I criticize it. If I like what I see, then I praise it. So, end of the day, it's about everyone has their own likes and dislikes when it comes to anything on this planet. This is not just a wrestling conversation, this is a life conversation right now. We all have what we like, what we dislike. The reality is just because everybody likes something doesn't mean you automatically have to like it. Or if people don't like something but you like it, then everyone doesn't have to automatically have the same view. Otherwise, what's the point in living? You know what I mean? So, for example, there are people that I think of a very fair one instead of just an over the top example. I want it just to be just a fair one. Okay. There's a lot of people I know that like I'll still not I still don't understand why. But there's a lot of people I know that like WrestleMania 35. And I'm like, okay. I can see the reasons behind why people like it. But I don't. I think the show, first of all, you ruined what people actually wanted in the first place. You made the most interesting title match on the card your opening match instead of the main event, which it deserved to be. And you overextend the show for the sake of it because it's what you have. And it doesn't actually justify it. And for me, it's that same concept. Now, a lot of people like Roman versus Cody too. Last year's WrestleMania Night 2 main event. They liked all the shenanigans. They liked the match all the way through. No problem. I've said it on this show. I like the first half. I like the first half of the match. But then they went so far over the top that it took away from it. It actually took away from all that. It didn't need so much. Now, I understand why they done it. So I'm not dismissing that. I understand why they done so much. I actually think the way they were already doing it, it was already perfect. And I think that just dismisses it for me. Now, there's people that don't like the Iron Man match between Brett and Shawn. They say it's overrated. I don't disagree. I think it is becoming so overrated now. In terms of like, when you think of WrestleMania matches, people think straight away of, well, maybe that might not be their first match, but it's one of the first matches they do think of, and they discuss it in such a way. And I'm like, you know what, I get that. It's not even the best match I've seen between Brett and Shawn, by the way. But I like it because it's a very good story of the greatest wrestler in the world versus the man who wants to be the greatest. The challenger is the one who wants to be the greatest. The champion is the greatest. And it's all about who is the man that can beat the other in an allocated time frame where every part of you is good to test. That's what I like about it. That's what makes it special. I can see why people don't like it as well. And honestly, if someone said that to me directly, I wouldn't argue with them. I love the match, however, from what I like as a wrestling fan. I like all concepts. But I like the way that match was done because that match had so much on it. That's the major difference. If you think it's boring, that's fine. I just disagree with you. I think Mark Henry in 2011 was actually quite decent. I think how he was booked between 05 and 07 was superior. That was the time when he should have been champion, not 2011. By 2011, his knees had gone. And it was just, it didn't work for me in that way. The gimmick was good. The Hall of Pain is a good gimmick. It was a couple of years too late. A couple of years too late. Anyway, back to this promo. So, it just didn't go the way I think even Logan wanted it to go. And that's a bit unfortunate as well, but I mean, that's wrestling. I mean, what can you expect? Not everything's going to go your way, but I think Logan hasn't really spiked up in terms of his skills. He's a very good athlete. I won't deny that. He's a very good athlete. And he is a piece of shit, which does translate well to being as a heel. But I just can't for the life of me I just can't like his work. I just don't like his appeal. That's all. I just don't. And there's people that do like him for what he brings, and I've no issue with that. But he's not for me. He never will be. It's fine. You can have different opinions on it, that's fine, but the reality is what happened, and it's because he was a dangerous human being. He's done all the damage to himself. Okay. We've now come to the part of the show that I really was hoping to avoid, but I can't because it's on the show, so I have to discuss it. We have to discuss this. It's on my monitor on the right hand side. We have to discuss this. Oh dear. Now, all three members of this main event, I really like. I really like all three. All three of them are genuine main event talents. And I like they're a whole different blend of wrestler. You've got an amazing high flyer. You've got an all round talent that is hard to bet against because she has so many different attributes and characteristics. And then you've just got an outstanding powerhouse that has reached a level of superstardom that no one saw coming. No one saw this ever happen. And if you ever think that was going to happen, you're lying to yourself. Plain and simple, you are lying to yourself. From the whole Raw scene, these are the best three women on the Raw roster by a mile. Fact. Let's make this a clear way of putting it this way. The entire Raw roster, these three women alone, are Canada to Mexico in terms of distance. Or the UK to the US in terms of flight. There's no one on the Raw roster that compares to these three. And I'm not trolling. I'm not saying that because I don't rate any other women on Raw. I do. I mean, just a straight fact. There is nobody that comes close to Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair on Raw. And there won't be for quite some time. Now, the match itself, I agree with Catherine. It was terrible. But I think Keen was also right earlier on. They're not getting the match spot that perhaps they deserve, which is higher up the card, maybe even a main event, because it's a main event type match. But you had a great world title match recently that Io Sky won, and then you go from that to this. It is it's shocking in the worst way. It's shocking in the worst way. But the good thing is they can turn it around, and I believe they will, because all three of them are very good workers. They listen to each other, so you know what you're going to get. Now the Hurricane Rana spot, well, the Poison Rana, that was dangerous. Hopefully no one got hurt. But they have to be careful. Now the guy, I disagree when you say Io Sky should not be in this position. Io Sky is more of a main eventer than anyone else bar Bianca and Rhea Ripley. I think it's very unfair to say she doesn't deserve to be in this or she should not be in this position. I think that's incredibly harsh. I think they look over her on purpose. I don't essentially agree with it, but that's what they're doing. I think the reality feels yeah, you step up to my empire. What's up, Abu? I don't like the way they've gone about Io Sky's title run, but Io Sky deserves to be a world champion at least. I think Io Sky should have won the Royal Rumble. Personally, she should have won the Rumble. You have Bianca Belair still win the Chamber, and then both women want the same person. They want the biggest star. Long story short, nobody wants to challenge Tiffany Stratton anyway because she's not that good. She shouldn't be champion. She's already been exposed by Charlotte Flair, which is even more embarrassing. But it takes away wanting to be that title holder. Rhea and Bianca are a good match, but adding Io Sky makes it bigger. It's your three best talent. You want them in the same room. You want them in the same match. When it is your three best, you get something. When it's one or the other, yeah, it's not so bad. It isn't actually. And her title run was actually good. Io's not going to be champion for a long run this year. But she was given the title a little bit of life in it because Rhea Ripley's title reign was coming down a little bit. Not entirely her fault. It's just that not many people can step up to her. Whereas Io and Bianca, they can step up to her. But yeah, too bad she's finished though, pal. Like she is unfortunately finished. I don't like the fact that this match ended in a double DQ. I don't like the way Bianca done this. But now we essentially know it's going to be a triple threat anyway. But still, I'm just surprised that the match just was that bad. I'm very surprised. We'll get a redeemer out of this. We'll see what happens, though. I'm hoping that both women can get a redeeming match. Sorry, my eye's just really sore. I apologise. Just keep my eye like that for a bit. In general, I like what I see from all three women. I want them to get a payoff. I want these three to get a good payoff at Mania. No matter who wins, I want them to get the payoff they deserve. We will see if they do. We will see what happens on SmackDown. We will see what happens as the rest of the week goes on. But as we come up to the 2-hour mark, I'm going to go here. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Please do like, share, and subscribe. It's a pleasure. Thank you to everyone who was involved tonight, and thank you for who participated on the stream as well. So, cheers again. If you want to join any future shows, please do just jump in there. You're welcome, Zodiac. And he's came out and said much worse. Just saying. He's said a whole lot worse, which is a fact. But yeah, Abu, spot on. Meanwhile, see you later, guys. I'm off. See you next time.